We're pleased to welcome now Kelly Bennett, Multimedia Journalist to SuperTalk Mississippi News.
Good morning, guys. It's been this week has been a long month, is what I was just telling Rhino when you were at the break.
Sure seems like it.
2 weeks in a row. Yeah, it's been crazy.
Sure seems like it. You know, at the break, I was chatting with Alex Payton, our content director. What a full slate of remote broadcasts we have lined up for the duration of the year. Man, we're going to be all over the place. Tupelo, the coast, West Point, whole bunch of stuff going on here locally as well. But we got news within the state of Mississippi. We, of course, today at least, and for a great extent, this week, we've been focused on the national news. So much going on there, Kelly, but we've got stuff going on here in Mississippi as well. Tell us about it.
Well, there are a couple of great stories. I love this because the setup for these kinds of projects has been going on for a while with state leaders and, development. What's the word I'm looking for, Gerard, here? Help me.
Just the organizations?
Development organizations like the MDA getting these sites around the state shovel ready for these major economic development projects. And now you're seeing it happen. So this week we had a major economic development project coming to Northeast Mississippi. Swiss-based manufacturing company Liebherr, which is one of the world's leading construction equipment manufacturers, announced a $176 million investment in Tupelo. It's expected to create 180 jobs by 2026. And Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann says, and he said it before, but it's worth repeating, state leaders have worked hard to attract these types of economic development projects.
We needed to redo our economic incentive package. Now, we did that, and you look at that press release, it'll talk about the company used MFlex. And what that was we went back and looked at all of our economic development packages where we weren't competitive or more competitive or whatever, and we put it where it's very simple to do.
And they've also focused, like I mentioned, on getting these industrial sites shovel ready.
By adding a lot of water, sewer, electric, land clearing, all kinds of other things that have been done so that, like in Madison, that site was what they call in the business site ready.
He's, of course, referring to the Amazon Web Services situation in Madison County. It was shovel ready, and a lot of that had to do with getting the power in there, the water, all the things set up for the company to move in and create this big industrial development. Now, here's another good thing to this story, Gerard. Liebherr isn't promising anything else quite yet, but they did say in the future this could be worth a $230 million investment. By the time everything is said and done, and they're talking about hundreds of jobs at that point. And we had another, this one, a major agriculture product manufacturer setting up shop in Southeast Mississippi. SipChem Agro USA announced plans to update a recently acquired facility in Wayne County. This is the $3.6 million corporate investment, and it will create 26 new jobs. And that may sound small compared to some of these big projects we've had lately, but hey, every job is a job. That wasn't there yesterday, right? And it's good news. So the company's Mississippi facility will be renovated for new technology and processes. In addition to the new jobs being created, they'll retain 88 workers employed by the facility's previous ownership, and they're hoping to get those operations up and running by the end of this year. So that could happen pretty soon.
So something that's received lots of attention is what's going on, I believe, in Marshall County regarding the banning of cell phones in the schools. Tell us about that.
Well, Marshall County, they made waves. They've got this new rule where they're going to ban cell phone use during academic hours. And again, we talked to Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann about this. He thinks it's a great idea. He hopes other schools will consider following suit.
I'd like for all of our schools to take a look at that, not only from an interruption in your education system, but also from the fact that people get harassed on that, all the things that are coming out about the mental health of our young people from being addicted or attacked on their iPhones or whatever.
While they're talking about mental health issues with social phone usage, Up to 95% of 13 to 17-year-olds use social media. More than a third say they do it almost constantly. And Dr. Catherine Panel has talked about this. She's with the Right Track Medical Group. She's urging parents to limit their screen time, and here's why.
Kids are spending almost 4 hours per day on social media. And what we're seeing is if you spend over 3 hours per day, the risk of depression, anxiety is doubling. So we do see that there are indicators to show that, excessive consumption of social media is causing a rise in anxiety or depression in our youth.
And I know we talk a lot about youth, Gerard, but we as adults need to watch out. It's easy to get into that social media black hole. I did this last night. I'm looking up news stuff on X, and next thing I know, I've been online for like 2 hours watching videos of lawmakers talking about this issue and that issue and trying to figure out what's going on. So I think we all do it. But this Marshall County cell phone ban will actually begin this fall. And basically what they're going to do, students in grades 5 through 12 will have to place their phones in locked pouches during the school day. And you can read more on all these stories at supertalk.fm. I find out about these locked pouches and I had to kind of laugh because there are times when I go out to dinner with friends or at some kind of social event, I would love to pick up all the cell phones at the table and put them in some kind of locked pouch. Wouldn't you? Have you ever thought about that?
Well, in my company, we handled this differently. And, of course, this was, 6 years ago, where we had all of our networks set up so that you could not access social media on our office premises. So you could use your phone for any other purpose. You just couldn't get to social media.
It's a little more difficult to do that when your job is social media, like ours is.
No doubt about it. But those within our company who were responsible for managing our social media sites, obviously we would allow them to have access. But as far as the folks that worked in the company while on site, they could not access the various social media URLs. Everything else worked. So you still had your phone and could use it for other purposes. And I would encourage the schools to perhaps consider that as opposed to just the hassle associated with locking up in pouches and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
it's just an option. Because some parents say, well, I'm worried about not being able to have access to my child, if there's an emergency situation. I get that. Of course, when I was growing up, you called the main office and somebody just came and got you, out of the classroom.
Right. And I think we forget that we used to handle these things, that they got handled.
Yeah. We've gotten accustomed to this.
Right. When my grandfather passed, that's what my parents did. They called the office, and then the office came to class and got me and let me know what was going on. There was some good education news this week I wanted to share. The Department of Education designated 6 elementary schools as emerging science of reading schools. This means they've trained teachers to build stronger, more skillful readers from kindergarten through 3rd grade. And I'll go over the list. Those named are Chickasaw Elementary and Olive Branch, Ripley Elementary and Ripley, McLaurin Elementary and Florence, Dana Road Elementary and Vicksburg, Jefferson County Elementary and Fayette, and Beach Elementary and Pascagoula. And I love to share good stuff. You know me.
Yeah,
I like
cool.
the happy stories.
What about Smith County Emergency Hospital? What's going on there?
Oh, Covington County Hospital and South Central Regional Medical Center are partnering to create what will be the Smith County Emergency Hospital. These folks haven't had an emergency hospital in a long time. So CEO Greg Gibbs told us that they're hoping to open up this facility in Raleigh in time for the holidays. And I thought he made a really interesting statement earlier this week when he said these Medicaid reimbursement reforms that were approved by Governor Tate Reeves last year really are helping out struggling hospitals in Mississippi.
My own personal opinion, I think one of the greatest days in Mississippi hospital history. Because, what a lot of people don't understand is it raised the Medicaid payment rate for hospitals up to the average commercial rate, which was a huge deal for hospitals. Now, it wasn't life-changing for the small rural ones because this is all based on utilization. So the more patients you see, the more impact it could have on. And like I said earlier, for hospitals, the biggest problem we have is we're starving for business.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool. All right, good stuff there, Kelly. Appreciate you calling in and giving us that wrap up around the state. Of course, next week we got the Neshoba County Fair. I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about next week after that. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Y'all too. Thanks.
We're coming right back, folks, in the Element Well studio. Stay with us.